A weekend where we've had the Carabao Cup final. We've had West Ham United finally pick up 3 points. Chelsea have lost again. Arsenal have extended their lead at the top with City just close behind. And welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. It's the Premier League Roundup show back for another week. And added on, we'll talk a little bit about the Carabao Cup final at the end as well. Shaun, join me. No Josh this week, unfortunately. So you just stuck with us too. Shaun, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm going to try my hardest not to sound too grumpy tonight. It might be a challenger.
Okie dokie. Let's see who we've got in the chat then. Lawrence, hope you are well, my friend. To everyone from Lexington, Kentucky, USA. Hope you are well and everybody else watching. We'll dive straight into it then with a bit of Friday night football, which I completely forgot about. Your favourite team picked up another point, Shaun. Fulham won, Wolves won.
Yeah, this was that Fulham one, no? Was it Fulham?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Wolves took the lead. Well, it was first half, I'm sure it was, but
yeah,
led for long parts. Wolves are a funny side, aren't they? I repeat myself every week because it's Friday. It's often a forgettable game, isn't it? So you got to really rack your brain and go back that far. Yeah, from what I've seen of it, I was at home watching it on my own. This one seemed like quite a fair result. Just looked like one of these sort of lower mid-table games. Really, I think. Wolves got thumped by someone last week, didn't they? Unexpectedly. Who was that? Was it Bournemouth? Or was it Bournemouth went away and won there or something like that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So I think this is probably just a game where the manager thought, right, back to basics. We'll keep it tight. Don't go too open. Obviously got the opener. Fulham, yeah, you know, I haven't hit all season, well, before the season started, I was a fan of how they play and how they go. But again, I said last week, well, I set it up. The three teams chasing around the 5th, 6th, 7th mark could have an outside squeak. And then you start to see them just not quite perform when they're almost like they're giving a bit of false hope to us all that they might shine. But yeah, it's 1-0. Forget one of a lot of forgettable games this weekend. I'm not going to be praising too many, if I'm being brutally honest, but yeah, I think Wolves. Well, I think both would be probably that happy because I don't expect Fulham fully believe deep down they're going to get Europe. They've got outside chance and maybe that conference thing that they
conference thing.
Yeah, that conference thing. But yeah, I think both teams. They won't be that displeased at the point, I don't think.
No, and I think, you know, Wolves came out and sort of blew Fulham out of the park a little bit. They played some really good football early on in the game, and they did manage to pick up a point on the road, which obviously was very good to them after losing to relegation rival Bournemouth the weekend before. Let's see who else we have got in the chat then. Luke, hope you are keeping well, my friend. 2 cup finals, 2 cup final victories for Spurs in a week. Fair play. They've managed to wheel out that battered song twice in a week. How lucky are they? But we'll get onto that a little bit later on. Were you pleased, Shaun, or not?
With what?
With Spurs, yes or no?
Well, yeah, of course. But Sheffield United away is a bigger game. On Wednesday, the FA Cup's a bigger game than home to West Ham. So there's only one club around the World Cup final that time.
Oh dear. Next up, we'll go up to the King Power then. I will help you out here, Shaun. Leicester 0, Arsenal 1, because I know you love talking about your friends up the road. But Arsenal, now there's plenty discussing. They're a funny old side, Leicester. You know, just another typical mid-table side that can pull out results. You know, pull out brilliant results against you like the other week, and then all of a sudden they're pulled back into this sort of relegation picture again, because they're now below Forest. They've been pulled right back into it. We are only a point behind them now. They're just a weird side, and you can feel the tensions building up on big Brendan Rodgers up there again, and it's they're a weird old side. When you look at it, Arsenal, probably that first goal, in my opinion, shouldn't have been ruled out. I didn't see a foul in there anywhere. Whoever it was protected way too much. Goalkeepers get protected way too much in the league anyway. But yeah, it was daft. That was disallowed in my opinion. But it didn't really matter too much in the end because they managed to pick up all 3 with a goal. I think it was just after half time they got it and then sort of saw the game out for a 1-0 victory. That's all, sides near the top need to do. It's all about getting the 3 points on the board, and Arsenal have done it and extended their lead at the top of the table. Mr. Terry Newsham, I hope you're well, sir. Evening or evening, Mr. Legend. Oh, so not me then, not me. Hope you well, Terry. Hope you've recovered from actually seeing West Ham win yesterday. I know it was a shock to us all, but yeah, even you. Next up, we'll go up to Goodison Park. And now this is the battle with Josh's household, but he's not here to talk about it, unfortunately. Everton new, Aston Villa 2. Sean Dyche's new manager bounce has well and truly ended, Sean.
Yeah, with the Leicester game, go back that quickly.
Yeah.
Remember I said when they beat us, they weren't very good to win. We just gave it to them with atrocious individual errors. Doesn't surprise me that they've struggled since, really, because they weren't good to beat us on that day. We were just awful. Everton. Again, I think we sort of with Dyche, he gets one good result. I think he's gone win loss now. So I think we're kind of waiting for him to put on a little run. I was actually expecting, rather than win loss, just like a couple of those dull draws.
Yeah.
And if you were going to get a dull draw, this probably my money would have been on this one. But I was actually listening to the clowns on TalkSport after this, I wouldn't normally listen to them. It's more your cup of tea, that, Jake. But
is it? All right. Okay.
they were just saying that without Calvert-Lewin, they've got no striker. They got Maupay starts at front for him, and he said he's not a goal scorer. He's just tries to be a menace. So they're just a bit toothless, Everton. I think they put Damari Gray on the bench, who's probably one of the better players. In all fairness, he's one of the ones you'd think might create something. But yeah, you can't. Ollie Watkins, I think in the past we've slated his finishing, but I think he's got 5 in 5 now. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to my guns and say I think Everton will be safe. And I've always said partly because of Sean Dyche is there, and I think he's got the right sort of squad that suits his style. But he's got to get it right. Like it's tricky with the players he's got. But it's all about the balance on the bottom. Like maybe shut up shop and get some dull draws. Win, loss. That's going to be nerve-wracking going to the end. And obviously, I think with the 2 teams around them winning, they dropped back into the relegation zone overnight. So, I don't know. I think he might go back to the drawing board a little bit. I got a feeling Everton have got Arsenal. No, they beat Arsenal. They've got a...
Oh, let me have a look.
They got a big one.
Everton next up have got Arsenal on the first, which is Wednesday, and then Forest, which is a massive game away from home.
They beat Arsenal at home about 2 weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So one of them must be a rearranged game.
A rearranged one.
Thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but they beat them. But obviously this one's at the Emirates. Back to the Arsenal game again. I don't think Arsenal were even that good on the day. I think they huffed and puffed a little bit, but Leicester just didn't create. I think it was I'm not a fan of this XG nonsense, but it was one of the lowest XGs of the season. Leicester at home. So yeah, that wasn't a classic. The Leicester Arsenal game. This one wasn't a classic. But this is one of the 3 PMs on at Everton Villa.
Yeah,
I was at home following these, and I think there's 5 3 o'clocks, and I think there was like.
I hope you were watching West Ham, Sean.
Oh, I did for a bit of it, but I got bored, to be honest. But
so did I.
But I think there's 4 or 5. I'm sure it's 5 3 o'clock kickoffs. Yeah, and I think there's 1 or 2 goals out in all of them, and it's like blimey. Even Gary Lineker was even making a joke that they had nothing to talk about if it stayed the same. So yeah, it's a very poor afternoon for Everton, that is. But yeah, like I said, they're playing Maupay up front. He's not going to keep them up, and they've got a goal threat or a creative player like Gray on the bench. That's not great, really. So yeah, back to the drawing board for them. But they got Arsenal, and we've got them soon. So I think they've got a tough little run coming up.
Yeah, they have. Just before we carry on and talk about West Ham, so get all of your comments and opinions ready in the chat. I'd like to thank our strong sponsors from West Ham, an official SRM Carver and Son. Check them out by using the link in the description down below, as well as checking out our February and March sponsors over here, Manscaped. Check them out in the description down below for your below the waist grooming, including the Lawnmower 4.0. Link is in the description. Use the code West Ham official 20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping over there. If you could do that, that would massively help out the channel. Before we move on to the Mighty Hammers, then let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Luke says, I bought my girl the Blu-ray of Matilda the musical today, 15 quid well spent, and was left alone for 2 hours. Thank Mr. Dell. There we go, £15 well spent. Well, that could have got you a hot dog and a pint inside the London Stadium. Just about, I reckon. Just about. But the hot dog had gherkins on it, so we're not complaining. We're not complaining. Luke says, my stream kept going. I missed all the goals, but got to see lots of us passing the ball around like Morris. Yeah, backwards and forwards and across. And yeah, that was the first half pretty much. Forest are the worst side I've seen this season. West Ham aside, they really weren't great. They weren't good at all. Terry says, Luke, I made a friend on the train up yesterday. He was off to the Swindon Fair. He was autistic and had a photographic memory of the train timetables. Gareth said, it seemed like a decent option. Yeah, it was a nice lad, wasn't he? He was a nice lad. I hope he enjoyed the fair if he ever sees this, which he won't. But anyway, right. West Ham 4, Nottingham Forest 0 there. Now, if you would have said to me that we would have won 4-0 at half time, I'd have thought you'd either drunk a hell of a lot or you'd taken something naughty, because that first stuff, you can't shy away from the fact that it was rubbish. It was boring. It was just dull. There was no creativity up front. We knew that was going to happen straight off the bat as soon as we saw Rings up front on his own. There was nobody for 40 minutes of that half anywhere near him in 30 yards of him. He was just up there on his own. And to be fair, midfield, I thought we strengthened a little bit. Obviously, with Paqueta coming back, I thought it was a big boost. I thought he was one of our better players overall over the 90 minutes. So that was a boost. We looked a little bit better. We had a couple of chances, but it was quite similar to the Spurs game, I thought, early on. And we sort of sat back after our normal 10 minutes, decent go at the start. And I thought the game was there for the taking going into the second half. And we found something on the 70th minute. We had a few chances, just couldn't quite get it in. And then Danny Ings, if you blink, you miss it. 2 goals, 2 minutes. Rice does Declan Rice and bangs it into the top corner, and Antonio finishes it off for a 4-0, and that was all inside 15 minutes. And I was like, flipping hell, let's catch me breath here. It was strange. It's given a bit of belief, which I think hasn't been there. We beat Everton, but there wasn't a hell of a lot of belief there because it was a scrappy. There wasn't really much quality there, and to be honest, we showed a good 20 minutes of quality in that game, and it was good. And there was some good individual little moments in there, and hopefully it can give the side some belief as well going into what I think is an absolutely massive game up at Old Trafford on Wednesday night. I do think Moyes will go for it. I do think, he won't go for it, but he'll put out the nearest to his best 11, in my opinion. I think he should. He'll probably play 9 at the back with Bowen and Antonio as 2 attacking players, but we'll talk about that nearer the time. But overall, I was impressed with 20 minutes of it. The rest of it has been a little bit samey. It's sort of papered over the cracks of that first half performance because it wasn't great. But we got the 3 points. And a word on Forest, they were really, really poor. How they got a point off City, if they played anything like that, I will never know. Shaun?
I think a few different angles I was going to go with this, but I think you sort of triggered me there when you said belief. Obviously, Forest away record is appalling, isn't it? It's real shocking. Do you think it was because obviously this is one of the games I was following at halftime, and all 5 games were all sounded like they were shockers, like real bad. Like it was like, blimmin' hell, are sure this is the Premier League? And you said you got to the 70th minute mark, and I'm assuming the game probably didn't improve a lot up to that point. Do you think it might have been something might have triggered? Because I've seen all 4 goals, and there wasn't a lot of defending going on in any of them, really. Do you think it got to the point of like 70 minutes and maybe West Ham or someone on the bench sort of woke up and it's almost like, hang on, Forest don't really want this. Do you know what I mean? Do you think it was like, maybe, I don't know what triggered it, but Forest, when you're that bad away and you've got a good record at home, I'm not saying they go away not bothered, but maybe they just go with a different approach to save something in their legs. And maybe, I don't know, maybe someone in the team or the Moyes spotted that they ain't come here. If they get a point, they're happy. If they don't get a point, they're not fussed. Because from what I've seen only seen the goals really, and then followed reading it and what they were saying on the radio. But from on the goals, it didn't look like you had to play with a lot of pace to get the goals.
No.
It was almost like easy crossing, bad marking. No one jumped for the last goal. Even Rice, no. It's all very simple stuff. It's a great win for West Ham, obviously. But I just wonder whether they needed that little bit of self-belief that a team didn't necessarily really, really want it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see like the Forest really put up a lot of a fight from what I've seen in it.
No, just before I answer that, just a couple of things I do want to say. Anton, I hope you're keeping well, my friend. Lawrence, thank you very much indeed for the $20 super chat, super sticker. Thank you very much indeed. That is greatly appreciated. And yeah, thank you very much, Lawrence. In answer to what was there, and I think I looked at this clock when it got to about 64, 65 minutes, and I could tell people were starting to get, discontent with it, and it was starting to get a little bit. This is not good at all here. And then we had a couple of chances. I think Bowen just hit the inside of the post, and Paqueta just blazed one just over the bar. That was all in quick succession, and it got the crowd up a little bit. And then we did get that goal. It was completely on the run of play. I mean, they're defending for all the goals. I thought was really, really poor. But yeah, I think it was, there was a bit of a like, this is not good. It's going to turn in a minute. And then we just got the goal at the right time. And then, it all changed in there. And Forest just didn't have a reply to any of it. They had a couple of chances. Now, I've seen some Forest fans calling for a penalty on that one where Johnson just about touched him. I think if he falls back directly, I think it's given a penalty. But the fact is that he kicked him. The initial thing to do is to fall back. But he sort of went back a little bit, and then 2 seconds later jumped to the floor. I don't think there was anything in that. I think it was more theatrical, him trying to get the penalty in the end. But yeah, Forest were really, really poor. Now, defensively, they were all over the place. They had a couple of breaks with Brennan Johnson where they looked a little bit dangerous. But apart from that, there was absolutely nothing there from them at all. And we didn't really have to do too much to sort of contain them. And then when we got the first, well, definitely when we got the second goal, it was plain sailing then, and there was no looking back at all. But
with the whenever Phil, I'm not going to go into this too much with your stadium, because it's a different stadium, and especially probably with atmosphere. And it's obviously very, very spacious. It's an unusual one. It's the sort of stadiums that if they had it in Italy, they'd be putting it down, basically. It is. When a lot of these stadiums come up with running tracks, they realise, right, there's no atmosphere in this. We're going to get rid of this and go smaller. I did watch a few of your videos with the goals going in. Do you think is the atmosphere worse at the moment than it has been for a while? Because even when you were cheering, because obviously there's no decent acoustics in the ground, so anyone in the opposite corner cheering a goal, it sounded like that's not already filtering down the other end or anything. It just sounded like a pack of about 20 people cheering the goal when it went in on your video.
It's just, yeah. I mean, there isn't a hell of a lot to shout about. It's never been amazing in there, bar 3 European games, I'd say, and maybe a couple of games last season against Liverpool and Chelsea where it started to get a little bit loud in there. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good, and that was just the same, and it's just what we've sort of come to expect. We don't want to go into too much because honestly we'll be here all night talking about it. But the thing with it is we're all sort of accustomed to it now that it is a complete library in there, and Forest fans, you could hear them in the first half, and that sort of did come down. But yeah, anything else is just muffled, and it's just shit. It's not great, but we know that.
Just stay at home, Jake. Just stay at home, watch it on the telly.
Terry says Paqueta showed some real class yesterday, his best outing for us. Luke says, I think we did what Spurs did to us, just be patient as they were out for the 0-0. Yeah, I agree. I think, they didn't have any intention of going for it and winning the game. And that was that. Forest played like us, sat back and hoped for something on the break, bang on, and they got absolutely nothing in the end. And I think they'll be disappointed, of course. But that's the game plan Steve Cooper set up with, and he didn't get anything from it in the end. Next up, you've got the delight of talking about your favourite team. And they won. Leeds won. Southampton 0. Southampton, a funny old side. Hey, come on then, give Leeds some credit, Shaun.
It was another shocking game. I told you I'm going to try my hardest not to be miserable. I followed this game probably closer than a lot of them. It was probably the bottom versus second bottom. I don't think that was, you got what you were expecting a little bit. I've chatted and followed to a few actually Southampton journalists, and they were hoping for 2 performances in a row after beating Chelsea. Didn't really come. They didn't really put up much of a fight, especially second half. Leeds, they sort of knock the door. But every game they play, they're knocking on the door a little bit. I've said to you, I've called them Barn Door FC for a couple of years now. Their finishing and their final balls always poor, and it was poor. It was poor yesterday as well. I think they should have added a second, but almost player really fell over the ball late on. The goal they did get, you need a bit of luck. It sort of went. The goalkeeper made a bit of a hash of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That goalkeeper has come very, very highly rated. He's very young. I think he's been just chucked into the lion pit a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like we say every week, you can't predict who's going down. Like last week, you had Bournemouth and Southampton get amazing results.
Yeah.
And last week, you had sort of Leeds losing and West Ham not really turning up at Tottenham. You can't second guess it. But Leeds, I think their manager's only officially had one day training. I'm sure he's been doing something on the dodgy without a work permit. But I don't know. I think Leeds were Leeds, but I just don't think Southampton turned up that much. They've got a very young side, Southampton. They've built this young side. I've been saying all year they're quite nice to play against. And obviously we all know Ellen Rowe can get quite rowdy and noisy. Yeah. By the sound of it, what their journalists were saying, second half especially, they didn't even lay a glove on Leeds really. But it's a good win for Leeds, good win for your lot. I think you'd all be a bit daft to read too much into it. You've just got to be happy with the one win at a time, really, because you're well aware next week it could be back to boring 0-0s or boring parking the bus. And as for Leeds, can't defend. So it's gonna be like this all the way to the season. I think maybe in a month one it'd be cut adrift, possibly, but wouldn't surprise me so not.
Yeah, it's gonna keep going definitely for one or two spaces right until the death for me, because these sides are just so unpredictable and nobody can predict. Nobody can predict it rightly, and without it being a complete fluke and get it right, because nobody has got an absolute clue. Luke says if Bednarek did that under Moyes, you wouldn't see him for a month. Lawrence says Leeds is another team that can't finish. A real soft goal in it, and it's sort of does it give Leeds any hope? I don't know. New manager, will they try and push on with it now? And Southampton is just 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's what it's been for them for a good few years. And one brilliant result, one awful result, and they just keep going like that. And will they be safe? Your guess is as good as mine. Let's move down to the south coast then. Bournemouth 1, Manchester City 4. Now I think it was an inevitable result. If you were going to predict this game, many people would have went 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, that sort of result, and that's what came out of it. Man City to the Man City. It's not really too much you can say about it. I don't think Bournemouth put up too much of a fight, but what can you do against Man City? Many teams have turned up and got points from them. That's where I think Bournemouth fans will be a little bit frustrated that they didn't quite lay a glove on them, whereas sides around them have picked up points off of City over the last few weeks. But when they're at their best, they are hard to stop, and Bournemouth couldn't find a way to break them down. I don't think they should read too much into that, Shaun.
No, like you said, it's a very predictable result. I've seen bits of it. And it's almost with Man City, when I watch them, I can't work out whether they're intentionally playing like second or third gear, because they haven't got properly going many games this season. Almost when they want to, like they beat Arsenal the other week. You've seen glimpses then of ruthless punishing, but then they obviously last week they dropped points at Forest after they got the big result one. I know 4-1's all right, but it's stages in that Bournemouth game. I thought this could be 7 or 8. And then you just seen that whether it's intentional because they got Europe, whether they really believe they got a chance to the league this year. I'm not sure even Pep believes it. They almost look like they're just going through the motions in spells in games. And when they want to turn it on, they will. But yeah, it's a predictable result. It's not going to define either team's season, especially Bournemouth's. But yeah, I still think Arsenal win the league, but it's just whether Man City want to put up that fight to hunt them down. Because we've seen in past seasons, Man City can go 20 games unbeaten. But I'm not seeing them get out of that comfort zone as many times this year to make me think they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
40 goals from Haaland or not. Do you know what I mean? He scored another one from about 4.5 yards again. But if 40 tap-ins inside the box wins you absolutely nothing this season, then it hasn't been a good year, has it, for Man City?
It definitely hasn't. Luke says Bournemouth may be rubbish, but they always fight. I respect that. Let's have a look here. Lawrence says I think right now it will be battle for 18th. Southampton and Bournemouth are 19th and 20th. So Lawrence is nailing them on. I think I think you're pushing it out to put two teams down there because I really don't know. There's so many sides that can still be pulled back into it. Leicester are far from out of it. Not many people have mentioned that. Another couple of bad results, then they are right back into it. Luke says if Bournemouth stay up, Gary O'Neill, manager of the year. They don't really like him down there at Dean Court, to be honest.
Weren't they booing him or calling him to go after it went 4-0?
Yeah, I think so.
That just proves what you just said. Then they haven't really took. I think didn't they have a good little run when he took over temporary, didn't they?
Yeah, and then we beat them thanks to VAR, and then it all went to pot from then.
Yeah, and I think the fans turned very quick on him.
Yeah,
I don't know, but Bournemouth fans, there's not many of them. I don't know. I think they should just enjoy the ride a little bit. Not get on the manager's back is a bit harsh because they ain't got many players that get a game from many other teams in the league.
No.
So bit harsh, I think.
Yeah. Now, there's many games that you can brand the most unpredictable game of the week, or the most forgettable game of the week. And I'm going to push the boat out here because I even forgot it was on. And I'm going to say the most forgettable game of the weekend, in my opinion, happened at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. Now, I'm not a fan of Saturday 8:00 kickoff, so I didn't even know it was on. I didn't even watch
That's Mass
second
Singer
of
time.
it.
Mass Singer territory, that is.
Are you telling me you watched that crap, Shaun?
No, that ended last week, so I didn't watch it this weekend.
Oh God, dear.
I've got a wife, Jake. I've got to watch certain things.
I'm so sorry. Like, have I sort of interrupted you watching Dancing on Ice tonight or something?
She's downstairs watching that as we speak. So this is convenient for me because it's something like I can't buy into that dancing or skating lark. But she'll be waiting for Love Island in an hour, so you better get a move on with this.
Yeah. Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 0. Then I've got nothing to say about it, to be honest. Shaun, have you got anything to say about
it? Palace are getting a lot of these forgettable games, aren't they? So,
yeah.
Like I think I praised Vieira quite a bit last year. I don't like admitting I get things badly wrong, but I remember saying it wouldn't surprise me if Vieira replaced Arteta this year. And that's sort of gone. I don't like Arteta, but that's gone badly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know ever. Remember, was it last year or the year before Palace had a habit of chucking away games late. Do you know what I mean? They'd be winning and they'd draw, or they'd be drawing and then they'd lose. All very late. I just wonder whether that's got in Vieira's head and he thinks, right, we're just going to keep it a bit even tighter. I don't know. He said it's very forgettable. I didn't watch it, to be honest. I don't remember reading any memorable moment from the game or anything, to be honest. I honestly can't. Didn't read anything from VAR. Didn't remember any big save. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't waste my Saturday evening driving down from Liverpool to watch that. But yeah, again last week this time last week I said to you that I had Liverpool's favourites to get fourth. Remember, I said I think they'll come late. After that, they got hiding at home to Real Madrid, and couldn't break down a Palace side. I don't even think they're battering Palace either. So it's a strange league. This season, I don't think Liverpool are completely finished with the hunt for Europe.
Yeah.
But it's another dull, poor result. You can't view it any other way than that, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I completely forgot about it until I had to just type it up about an hour ago and went, oh, yeah, that did that happen? Oh, nobody even mentioned it. But, yeah, we will swiftly move on. Fans are idiots, let's be honest, says Luke. Liverpool are falling apart close to Chelsea. We don't get commercial television at Winchester. Yeah, have you got what was it called back in the day? Teletext. Have you got that, Luke? Has that made its way down to Winchester yet? Not even ITV4 at the home of Monster Carp. I think that's how it's spelled. Well, to be fair, I'm just chuffed because Wednesday night we've been promoted to ITV1 for the FA Cup. We were on ITV4 for the Derby game. We've been promoted to ITV1 for Wednesday. Now to get to watch it in HD, I can see your excitement, Shaun.
Yeah, they'll get bigger ratings if they left Coronation Street on Wednesdays. Your mum would be fuming. They've booted off Coronation Street for the football, surely.
Oh no, she won't worry. She'll try and get like split screen up so she can watch She didn't watch Coronation Street. She watches EastEnders. She want to watch EastEnders and West Ham at the same time. No, we're watching West Ham.
She's got to pretend she likes West Ham just to get one of them hot dogs. That's all that
is. Yeah, something like that. Oh, Dancing on Ice has finished. Breaking news.
Who got knocked out?
Who got knocked out? Mum's watching it downstairs, so Dad's having to watch me upstairs. Honestly, the things we have to do. But anyway, yeah, who's out? To be fair, I don't really care. But
I can't remember. I can't even remember who's in. Then who's getting knocked out.
Laura says Shaun is looking for Kane and Son to partner as Dancing on Ice. If Man United drew Stenhouse more, ITV would shout exactly. Terry says, must have been the Derby matchday vlog that upped us to the dizzy heights of ITV. Well, we're now on 103. We are on the proper television, I'll tell you that. Well, some of us will be at Old Trafford, but some of us have got exams and some of us will be in bed by 10:30, not 3:30 like you lot. So happy days. Rumour is Ray Winston is about to join EastEnders. Is he going to take over like the role of Danny Dyer? Is he? I will be up for that. I'll be up for that. Right then. I've prepared a little something for this because it's mildly amusing. Spurs 2, Chelsea 0. This leaves the Chelsea side that are currently sat in 10th place, 4 points off of 9th place Brentford. Brentford have got another game in hand on them. Brighton have got 2 games in hand on them, 4 points clear of them. Villa are on the same amount of points on them, and they are sat 10th. They are currently sat 14 points off of the Champions League places. I mean, are you surprised they haven't pulled the trigger yet, Shaun?
No, I haven't been impressed with what the owner of the board has done with all these buys. I've said all along, I don't think Potter's had very little say in who they've bought. I know a few Chelsea fans are just thinking back to the old days. Why haven't he been sacked? He should be getting more out of these players. Well, half the players they signed, most haven't heard of. It's easy to look at a price tag when they've been paying way over the odds for certain players. But another reason why it doesn't mean a lot, but they've always said this a long-term appointment. That doesn't mean a lot. I know of football. I think the season for them's gone. So if they sacked now, all they probably get in is someone of these like temporary managers just to roll them onto the summer anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of difference in doing that than keeping Potter and having a look at that in the summer. Potter's not. He doesn't come across the sort of bloke that's going to fall out with any high-profile players. I think they've just thrown the checkbook at it a lot. Still missing some glaring positions. I don't think they've got a great keeper at the club. They still don't really have a proper centre forward. They got that youngster they signed. Is it Makawan? I forget his name. He didn't start today anyway. But anyway, so it doesn't surprise me. I'd be surprised if they sack him during the season. But on to the game, it wasn't too dissimilar to that game we had with Europe last week, really.
Yeah.
The first half, there was a few half chances. I think they had a half chance. We hit the post. We had that weird, I don't know if you've seen it, the weird sending off.
Now, I saw something about it. I didn't watch the game. I saw something about it.
I watched it, and then I've read the explanation to it all, and I can't work out what happened, really.
I'll have a little look at it. Go on, talk away.
He sort of slapped him in the neck, in the face, which I thought was meant to be a red card. He sent him off. Then there's a bit of a delay. Then VAR asked him to go and have a look at it. Then VAR told him it should be a yellow. It all got very messy, almost like they didn't know whether they should get involved, shouldn't get involved. There's delays, and it ended up getting a yellow. But that was slightly strange. Second half, I thought Tottenham again, a bit like it's your up their tempo, went through the gears a little bit. One really good goal, Oliver Skip, who's been really good since he's come into the team. I thought he was very impressive against Europe last week. I thought he was good again today. Romero, I think I thought he was the best player on the pitch against Europe last week, to be honest. And I thought he was brilliant again today. So yeah, let's take away the Leicester result, which is a bit of a freak one. Like I said, the individual errors were horrendous. It's almost like when we knew we had no self belief, we just folded. But 3 home games now, we've beat City, your lot, and Chelsea, and haven't conceded a goal. I know Chelsea aren't in great form, but this is historically our toughest opponent every single season. We've played Chelsea before, and they've been in terrible form, and they beat us or ground out a point. So I'll be honest with you, before kickoff, if you offered me a point, I might have took it purely because we're terrible against them usually. But I don't know. We sort of got, obviously Conte's not there at the moment, although he's maybe on the phone every 10 minutes. We're in fourth. I know teams around us have got a game in hand here and there, but get a couple more wins. I would start to think with them we're in the driver's seat for that 4th spot again. But
Yeah.
You know what football's like. Every week's always the biggest week. We got Sheffield United in the Cup Wednesday. We got Wolves away at the weekend, and that's followed by AC Milan and the Champions League. So again, every week's a big week. So if we can get through that, well, we need to beat AC Milan to stay in Europe. But if we can get through in the Cup, if we three wins, that'd be a massive week, and it will it really kickstart a season. If we can just get that confidence of 3 wins in a row in 3 different competitions, I think that'd be quite massive. But I've said to you the other week, I think we got a little period. I know we lost to Leicester, where we have got a few of the teams down there. Like we got Wolves next week. I know we got Everton coming up. I think we might have Forest as well very soon. We had a little spell with Chelsea chucked in the middle, are obviously not great at the moment, where we're playing all the lower sides. So let's see what happens. Like I said, in the next 7 days, well, just over the next 3 games, it could define our season a bit. I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I've just had a look, just had a little look at that red card thing. Now he does slap him. There's no doubt about that. You know, if that's, you know, as far as I'm aware, that should be a red card. Now, I mean, he's not a very physical player, Emerson. If he gets slapped in the face, he started rolling around on the floor and holding his face like this, like he'd just been slapped by, you know, the strongest geezer on the world. But, you know, that's just football for you. I don't know the reasoning for it, but yeah, it baffles me, as it does every single week. Let's take some of your comments down now. Do you think this comment stirs some Spurs fans up the wrong way? Do you reckon Chelsea spent all that money, shows Levy knows what he's doing? Spurs should be proud to have him. Do you like Levy or not? Or do we want want Levy out? Levy out?
No, I'm not a Levy fan, to be quite honest with you. Because it's not a recent thing with Levy. There's been a few incidences, a few transfer windows we've been there nearly 20 years. So there's been 4 or 5 instances where he could have put more money in at the right time and didn't do it. Right. Tottenham should, I think, under his tenure, I think it's about 20, 21 years. It's our bleakest period in our club's history for winning anything. So in his tenure, it's 1 League Cup. If you go back before that, we might win 2 or 3 cups a decade. So it's not, when it comes to a football club, he's obviously building us into a bit of a superpower. He's quite proud to announce that he's building a hotel next to the stadium and this, that, and everything else. And he's done this. But truth of the matter is, even now, we kind of just about do the bare minimum. We needed 2 or 3 players in January. He got 1 in. And it almost and even the Tottenham journalists who run the sort of inside the club, I said months and months ago that he's going to address the centre backs in the summer. Well, doing that's almost taking your foot off the pedal for that current season. And come the summer, you know, it's like a football, time waits for no one. There'll be another little position which needs a little bit of attention. So we never quite get that complete team, and it's been that way since he's been in. There's twice we were in title races in January. Right, go and get 1 or 2. You look at this year, look, in the January transfer window, Arsenal went in and got 1 or 2. Chelsea went in again. So they were top, we went in by. I think we were second in the league in January, and there were even big players that wanted to come, but he went and got, I think, 1, 2 frees or 1 free in a loan. It's like 30 million we could win this league, and he's just not done it like that. But comparing it to Chelsea, that's probably a bit daft because that's one extreme to the other. Like, it is, yeah. I don't even know who's scouting them. I don't know who they've got behind the scene because it's Ted Bodie. I'm pretty sure he hasn't.
I can tell you 90%. I can tell you exclusively who's scouting them. It's Todd's checkbook. That's you scattering. Now we are going to move on,
Yeah.
because I'm aware you want to watch Love Island at 9 o'clock, Shaun. I do have a bit of breaking news for you, however. I found out who went out at Dancing on Ice: Carly and Mark. Carly Stenson, whoever the hell that is. So yeah, even Shaun don't know, and he like religiously watches it every week. So
I'm trying to think, because my wife went to stage school with one of them. Is that the one from Hollyoaks?
I
She
got
was in
flipping clue.
Hollyoaks or something like that.
No
If it
idea.
is, my wife went to school with her.
Oh.
That's your fact of the day. That is claim to fame.
There we go. Fact of the day. Right, now this is the stat of the day and comment of the day. We haven't done this for a while, but Corey wins comment of the day outright. Real Madrid have scored more goals in the UK in 2023 than Chelsea. They've only been here one game. That is brilliant. That is utterly brilliant. Very, very good. Shark it, well, mate. Finally, we get to watch West Ham play well and win a game at the same time. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Right, let's move on to, I believe that the only game left is the Carabao Cup final. It is. Now, we won't talk about it too long because I'm sure Shaun's got to prep himself for Love Island. So, Man United 2, Newcastle 0. Feel a little bit sorry for Newcastle. You know, it was their big day out and they didn't manage to get over the line. Just the ball didn't quite fall from the final third. A couple of shots, that swerving one right at the end that literally swerved away from the goal like that. A couple of good saves from De Gea. Man United were clinical. I think that's it, Shaun.
Yeah, someone might be able to fact check this. Did I read that Newcastle have lost their last 9 visits to Wembley? Did I read that?
Yeah, go on, carry on.
Have a look at that one. The question I've got for you and maybe all your listeners with this is more about Newcastle, really, because I've sort of covered it with you for about the last month or so, that they're sort of going out with a bit of a whimper. It's just really what this defeat will do to the remainder of the season, really. Like, because this cup final is always historically a bit of a strange time of the season, like end of Feb. There's been teams that have lost it and their season's just dissolved, and their form coming into this has not been great. So I just wonder whether they'll just stutter. And I don't know how low they'll stutter, but right now I don't think they'll make the Champions League spots. It might, to be honest, it's not that important, because they're just going to chuck another couple of 100 million at it and probably get another manager to get it over the line. That's what Man City did when they got the money, wasn't it? But yeah, I just keep an eye on what they do. They've been stuttering for a good month. Like poor draws, losing to Liverpool last week, losing to the cup final, both 2-0. Their goal scoring is completely dried up.
Yeah.
You said they had a couple of half chances against Liverpool last week. You said they had a couple today, whistle wide. But they didn't look like battering Bournemouth, your lot, Leeds, Palace. They didn't none of you lot have hung on for the draw. So I don't know. I don't think Bruno Gomes, he's not fit. He didn't play today, did he? Again, I don't think.
He did.
Did he play? Did he? Oh, sorry. They've missed him in the league. I don't know if that was his first game back.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see what they do. Would not surprise you if they just stutter right to the line a bit and drop to 6th or 7th now.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, I couldn't find a website that would clarify that stat, but if it is 9 losses in a row, then that's not good reading. That's probably over a long time, because they haven't been in a final.
I know they lost 2 FA Cup finals with sharing the team. That was 2 in a row.
Right.
And they haven't won a trophy for 50 or 60 years, I think, was it they said?
Was it 76 or something? I don't know.
Or was it? So, yeah, so that's probably lost a semi-final in that time. That'd be 4. Yeah, I'm sure I read it was 9, but yeah, might be.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it. Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Tottenham, top 4 in that order. I think come the end of the season. Yeah, I think that's hard to disagree with. I think it could end like that. Shug says last time they were at Wembley was the cup final defeat against Man U in 1999. There we go.
Yeah, they lost to was it Man U, and I'm pretty sure they lost. They lose to Chelsea as well. They lost 2 in a few years space. Anyway, I know that around that time.
Yeah, so another disappointing.
No, Arsenal, sorry, they lost to Arsenal.
Was it Arsenal? Was it?
Yeah, I'm sure they lost to Arsenal in the cup final.
Another disappointing day out. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna have a look here. So that was against Man United, and that was in '98 against. It was Arsenal. Well done. Yeah, there we go. And before that, you got to go all the way back to 1996, where they lost to Man United. They haven't got a very good record They haven't really got a very good record against Man United at Wembley. They lose every single time, but they'll be hoping for not Man United the next time they're at Wembley. But yeah, that's the Premier League Roundup show done for week 25. The season is fastly approaching the death. What's that, 25, 38? There's 13 game weeks left in the Premier League. There's a few rearranged ones left to be nestled in there somewhere as well. Of course, European football coming back as well. The mighty Conference League returns next week. I'm sure you'll be buzzing for that, Shaun, as we head to Iron Upper.
Yeah, I've seen you got the Larnaca side. I don't think I'll be here next week though, Jake. I'm away again. Yeah, and I don't know if
Where are you going?
I'm going to Barcelona.
Oh, very nice.
I'm going to. So this time next week, I'll be just coming out of the new camp after watching Barcelona v Valencia. So I'm not sure I'll get a signal on the metro coming out of there.
All right, for some, flipping hell.
I got to pay for it yet.
No, thank you very much indeed, Shaun. Have a great holiday next week.
Cheers, mate.
I hope it's good for you. And yeah, thank you very much indeed for everybody watching in the chat. Thank you very much to Shaun. We'll be back next week. I'll have to pay Josh a few more quid to come on next week. I wasn't going to be here on my own. Thank you very much, Shaun, from us. Come on, you Irons. I'm going to catch you soon right here on West. I'm Phil. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers. See you later.